monkeys versus aqua dragons, survival of the fittest. We've had them for 30 days now, and I want to show an in-depth look of how much they've grown. Welcome to Serenity Belle Outdoors. Today we are in for a treat. These sea monkeys and aqua dragons have been really busy growing, and you can actually see the playfulness of the sea monkeys and aqua dragons. It's really fun to watch. In the previous video, which I will link below, you get to see how it all started for days 1 through 10. This will now show days 15 through 30. And you can see the close look that these sea monkeys right here have really grown. You can see their tails, and you see how some of the tails are extra long. I noticed that happens right after feeding, and it is how they get rid of their waste, just like a fish. Another cool thing to take note of is when they first started growing, they only had one eye, and now when we take a closer look, a lot of them have 3 eyes. The extra 2 eyes popped up with their growth, which is really interesting to see. Also, as you can see in the video here, I noticed they like to do a lot of digging in the algae that's growing at the bottom of their tank. With that, I see feeding and then also some mating in there. So I'm hoping to get some babies soon. The sea monkey population has pretty much stayed the same from the start. They have kept their numbers. With that, I've kept to a feeding schedule of every few days, and I've made sure to aerate their tank twice a day for about a minute each time. Watching their behavior, I do see that they follow light. So if I shine a light at the top of the tank, they will swim up to it, which is funny to see. However, I like watching them at the bottom and doing all their digging and foraging in the algae. I've also made sure not to clean the tank and just let the algae develop on its own. When the water starts to evaporate, I just top it off to the fill line with some distilled water, and then I aerate it really well with the bubbler. All right, before we get to the aqua dragons, let's take one last look at the sea monkeys up close while they dance to the music. Now it is time for the aqua dragons. They started off really small. They were even smaller than the sea monkeys, but there were a lot more in the aqua dragon tank. And let's have a look to see how they are doing now. It has been a journey for sure with these aqua dragons. Now they started out with way more in the tank than the sea monkeys. I think the tank might have been a little overcrowded. So it really has been survival of the fittest for the aqua dragons. We definitely don't have as many as we started with, but there are still a good number of aqua dragons in the tank that are growing and doing well. So now there are about the same amount of aqua dragons that there are of sea monkeys. Another difference that I noticed is the aqua dragons grew at a slower pace. They were a lot smaller and still are a little bit smaller than the sea monkeys, but they are catching up. And I also noticed that they're a lot more active and they move a lot faster. They do enjoy foraging at the bottom of the tank like the sea monkeys, eating all the algae. But I do see a lot more of these that swim all around the tank instead of congregating at the bottom. They're just so fun to watch as well. Look at this close up. It's really interesting to see how they swim and then with the tails. Another fun fact is the aqua dragons, as well as the sea monkeys, they can also reproduce on their own without a mate if needed. So if you're only down to one aqua dragon, you can still end up with eggs and babies. If you are wondering how aqua dragons and sea monkeys breathe, interestingly enough, they do it through their feet. That's a cool fun fact for you. Let's give the aqua dragons a chance to show off and dance to the music as well. And I am going to turn on the blue LED light that came with their tank. It's a pretty nice feature that's included. Happy watching! And here's another look at the full tank so you can see what you'll get. I do still think that the display for the aqua dragons gives the win over the sea monkeys because it's so cute just to have as a gift. However, the sea monkeys did grow at a better rate, so they're kind of a tie when we go with the sea monkeys versus aqua dragons. However, I have enjoyed raising both, and I hope they last for a very long time. I'm going to keep giving you guys updates to see how the tanks go and if any issues arise. Let's do another close up of the aqua dragons swimming. I think it's just so fascinating the difference in swimming between the two. The aqua dragons are much faster. It was a little bit harder to capture that on camera, but I do enjoy watching them. Have a look. I've noticed with the Aqua Dragon tank that there seems to be little specks that kind of look like they're swimming around. I know it's too soon for them to be reproducing, but I'm kind of wondering if there's eggs that's in the feeding packets just to make sure the population continues. Well, let's take a look. That was then when we first got started with the sea monkeys and aqua dragons. That's when we can barely see anything in the tank. And this is what they look like now. A lot of growth. And I can't wait to see how big they actually get. You can see with this side by side really clearly here that it seems to be just about the same amount in each tank. The sea monkeys do have the longer tails. I do think that's just from the feedings, but we did lose maybe about half of the aqua dragons along the way. But I'm hoping with those little specks that I see swimming around means that we'll have the next generation of aqua dragons soon. As for the sea monkeys, they are still going strong. You can see they're still larger than the aqua dragons. Stay tuned to watch the growth of both. Thank you for watching. Please like, comment, subscribe if you enjoyed this video, and you have a wonderful day. Thank you.